What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome back to another episode of the Road to Glory. Today, the team on the screen is the one we're using in-game. First things first, Neymar doesn't need to be positioned to a left mid to get more chemistry. He's already on 10 chem. However, I should apply a chem style to him. Secondly, as we start searching for a player here, and here is the opponent, the new patch is out. And I've experienced some horrific gameplay during the new patch. And this isn't a whole complaints thing either, because this game that you're watching, this was the 6th game that I had played. 4 of my first 5 games disconnected either at the match screen, like where you see the team, or at the just minutes after kickoff. And I put a tweet out on Twitter, it's showing it. The other game that I played finished 3-3. And it was just horrendous. It was super heavy. Interestingly enough, after I got disconnected from the games, I was getting like ranking points. I was getting 300 ranking points as if I drew the game. Except on the last one, what I did is I reset my console completely. I reset all my internets and such. And then when I logged back in, I actually got told that I got disconnected and I lost elo points and so on and so forth. So I don't know if that's the patch or if my internet's just having issue today, but I've never ever had that. Like, yeah, I've disconnected from games before. I don't think I've ever really got DC losses. Maybe 1 or 2 this year. I had a lot in FIFA 17. Maybe 10 maximum in FIFA 18, and I can't even remember, honestly, if I had a DC loss in FIFA 19. I don't think I have. Maybe 1, maybe 2, which isn't bad out of 1,000+ games. I think that's all right. So to disconnect 4 times from 5 games and the 5th game be extremely heavy was an issue. In the game that I managed to play the full game from, I actually scored a first time back to goal time finesse. I put it on Twitter. A lot of people actually seemed to be under the impression that that was an okay goal. It was Gareth Bale Team of the Year. He was under no pressure, so on and so forth. But what the problem for me wasn't the fact that it went in, because I would actually be upset if the patch made it so that no finesse shot ever went in, because that would just be typical EA of going from one extreme to the next. I hope they found a good middle ground where it's a viable option but not the only option. However, I personally thought it was a bit of an extreme goal. I thought, Bale was a little bit sideways off to goal. The ball was flung in at him. I hit the shot perfectly green, which maybe that's just good timing for me. I didn't expect to see it fly into the top corner. Interestingly enough, in this game, you'll also see a finesse shot going into the back of the net. So in the 2 full games that I've played, we've had 2 finesse shot goals. Is that less than normal? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. We're going to have to play a good week or so of this game to really start to understand what is broken, what is fixed, how the game's playing, if finesse shots have truly been reduced, and so on and so forth. And so with that in mind, my first impressions of the patch is that for me personally, it has actually broken the game. It's near unplayable for me, and it's a problem for me if I do get into a position where I'm constantly getting disconnected at the start of games. The reason why it's a problem for me is because I need to play this game for a living. So if I can't play games, that's an issue. With that being said, guys, I have got some comments again. The first comment is from Ike Moon, and he says, I just wish there was a free draft where you go in and pick your team and play 4 games and you don't win anything. It's just fun. I don't wish for that personally, because there is a mode where you can just pick your team and go and play and don't get anything, and that is online singles. And when there's not a weekly objective, online singles in general is relatively easy. It's fun. You play against weaker opponents with weaker teams. And because team rating based matchmaking is in online singles, I don't know why, if you went in with a silver team, you would most likely match up against somebody else with a silver team, or at least a similar team rating to you. Now, that might be a good gold team with a bronze bench, but if you silver team with a bronze bench, you're going to come up against low-end teams, generally speaking. It's not an exact science, but generally speaking. In fact, I do also believe that ratings-based matchmaking is also in FUT Rivals, as it was in Divisions last year. I proved last year multiple times and did videos on it and streams on it, where if I had a 184 or 185 team or higher, my division run would be exceptionally more difficult because the level of team I would come up against would be far better. However, if I dropped my team to a 180, 179 and still had all my insane players in but a bronze bench, I would come up against standard gold teams all of the time, and it would make it far, far easier for me to win games, and I'd win comfortably more division titles. The same thing happens again in FUT Rivals now. If you put your team rating down low, it will match you against someone with a lower team rating. Now, again, it's not an exact science because it doesn't always match you against someone with as low rating as you, sometimes higher, sometimes lower. And also, just by having a lower rating doesn't mean a lower rated team because of bronze benching, and especially due to the fact that a lot of people actually bronze bench. But that's where we're at with that. So I think, however, Ikemoon, off the back of your comment, I think a draft style mode, which is essentially a tournament, right, where you pick your team, pay some coins, and then play for draft rewards would be amazing. So I could take the team that I've got now, pay an entry fee into a tournament with this team, get locked into having to use this team for the 4 games, and then after the results of the games, we get our rewards and we go from there. Almost like a mini FUT Champs, or literally like a draft. That way, EA could do themed squads in that sense, and instead of making you play up until you lose, just allow people to actually play all 4 games. So you lock in, you get your team, you pay your entry fee, maybe it's 5k and the rewards are not so great, maybe it's 50k and the rewards are absolutely amazing. You play all 4 of your games with your themed team that you can't go into without it. You know, like for example, you could have a themed team of needing 3 French, 3 English, 3 German, and 3 Americans in your, your 23 players or your 18 players, however many they want to lock in. And that would kind of encourage people to use different squads and different players. Maybe one of the themes would to have 3 FUT stars in your starting 11, for example, and then you play all 4 games. If you win 1 and lose 3, you get a reward for winning 1. If you win 2 and lose 2, you get a reward for winning 2. If you win 3, lose 1, you get the reward that would be equivalent to winning 3. And if you win all 4, you get the jackpot reward. You know, you get the good reward. I think something like that would be amazing. And sadly, it's just a dream, isn't it? A lot of the things that we talk about that we want, that we would love to see, we'll never see. And the reason why we'll never see them is because if it's not going to immediately impact EA's bottom line in a positive sense, why would they spend the time and resources putting it in? And that's just the sad truth, unfortunately. On top of that, with that, with that in mind, and with that being said, I would absolutely dream of 2 things in this game. 3 things really, but 2 things mostly immediately that would change, in my opinion, the way people play this game, the way people perceive this game, and the way people make content on this game. And so the third thing, which I don't think is necessarily as important but would be very, very big for this game, is allowing co-op online play. So I want to be able to play my Ultimate Team Division Rivals game with Nick, or with Bateson, or with A9 Skills, or with a viewer, or with a subscriber on Twitch, or with somebody. I want to be able to play with my friends on Ultimate Team. I think the game misses that massively. But the 2 biggest things that, in my opinion, this game needs, number 1, it needs a spectator mode. With spectator mode, the amount of things I could do is mind-blowing. You know, I talked on Twitter the other day with some people, and there was a thread made on Reddit about it, obviously, about how content creators are bagging on EA for not giving them enough content for videos, and the video ideas are terrible and stuff. And it's because in this game we are so limited with what we can do that if EA don't give us something, then we don't be able to make content that people want to watch. And if we do make content that's outside the realms of normality, it generally gets way less views than normal. And for most content creators, this is their job, this is their source of income. So why would somebody, instead of uploading a draft or a pack opening or a squad builder or an SBC video, why would they upload something that's a little more creative and a little more fun if it only gets a third of the views and therefore a third of the revenue and costs them money? Why would they go out of their way to do that? And I'm not saying it's necessarily EA's job to make our job easier. It's on us to create the content. I'm fully aware of that concept. But with spectator mode, the things it would allow me to do would be outrageous. I would be able to, specifically on stream, you know, hey guys, today we're going to watch a couple of subs games. We're going to pinpoint some areas where they're going wrong. Let's say, we'll do Division 5 sub-games. So if you're in Division 5 and you're a subscriber to the stream, we're going to watch one of your games. We're going to break down and analyze what you're doing wrong and hopefully improve and help you improve. If you're a Division 4, the next day we'll do Division 4 sub-games. We'll watch those. The next day we'll do Division 3. The next day we'll do Foot Champs games and we'll watch some of your Foot Champs games and break those down. Spectator mode would be genuinely outstanding for content creation and just for this game in general. The other thing that I want to see in this game so desperately, so badly, is I want to see custom tournaments and custom cups and leagues and custom things like that. That way, again, in terms of content, now imagine both of these hand in hand, Spectator mode and custom cups. I could create a tournament for me and you guys watching, put it to a maximum of like 1,056 entries or whatever it is that's needed to be in there. Everyone enters in using a unique code that I give you to enter the tournament. It brackets you off. You get 24 hours to play, check in and play your game. Or maybe 6 hours to check in and play your game, so that it would hurry the tournament along a lot quicker. If you don't check in, you get forfeited. The other person goes through. If you check in and one person doesn't show up, then, one person goes through. I don't know how they'd implement it necessarily. But after that, after having that tournament, what we could do then is we could give prizes to the winners and stuff and make it super easy. But having Spectator mode or something like Champions Channel where all the games are accessible would be amazing. Imagine me doing a series where we take, let's even just say 16 people, and we'll give out big prizes for this. No entry fee, just as a thank you to being a viewer or a subscriber on Twitch. 16 randomly drawn subs go into an Xbox tournament, 16 into a PlayStation tournament that I've set up manually. Then we go and watch the games. We can do videos on the games, we can live stream the games, and we can watch the tournament as it unfolds. And then in the final, for example, I could make a video on it. I could be like, all right, guys, here are the best goals from now until the final. Here's like some of the upsets. Here's like some of the best teams. Here's all the teams that people used. And now let's watch the final and see who's going to win this and win 12,000 FIFA points or $100 PayPal giveaway or a new console or whatever it may be, wherever the prize may be. That, again, for content creation purposes would be absolutely amazing, like genuinely amazing, if I had the capabilities to do that. So I wish that EA would do stuff like that, but I don't see it coming anytime soon, because EA are a big money corp. They're an evil corp. And whilst the people that work for EA Sports I like a lot, I get on with very well a lot of the guys that work at EA Sports. EA, Electronic Arts, not EA Sports, but EA, who are the company that govern and fund EA Sports. EA Sports, if you guys didn't know, are a subsidiary of EA, which means that EA give them budgets and deadlines and goals. And if EA Sports are sitting there saying, please, can we have, $250 million more this year so that we can build this infrastructure for these amazing things, if they turn around and go, is that going to make us more money than we already make? Well, if EA Sports can't argue the fact that yes, it will make more money than they already make, they'll probably turn around and say, we don't want to invest those resources. We need to see data from other games or other companies or other situations where you can kind of prove that this is going to generate lots more income, and ultimately it just won't. So, the next comment. Jean-Francois Dubé. I love your name, dude. I love your name. He says, this is getting out of hand. A sentinel on Player of the Month for Aubameyang. Coupled with another comment from Antonio Lopez says, what happened to Martinez? He fits the meta. The reason why I'm doing things as stupid as putting weird chem styles on weird players is because I'm trying to find what the actual ultimate stat set is for this meta. And I want to talk about it a little bit more, but I know people are getting mad triggered at me saying the word meta a lot. So we can call it overpowered mechanic if it makes you feel better. But I'm putting a sentinel on Aubameyang because I'm struggling to find other players that can do what Bale and Ibrahimovic can do. Team of the Year Mbappe, based on the FUT Champions Cup on the weekend, can do it. I don't have Team of the Year Mbappe. I thought Aubameyang would be okay with it because he's 6'2", he's got good jumping, good heading. For some reason, he just doesn't get into the positions that Bale and Ibra do. And I wonder if that's largely down to the fact that his strength and aggression combination isn't as good as those guys. That for me, is quite interesting and could be the fact. Martinez, in my personal opinion and experience, doesn't fit this meta because he's too short. Again, I'm trying to find what the best basic combination of all things are to be considered, and it just seems like Bale and Ibra are the masters of it. They just fit every single little thing every single time. Andrew says, Nep, sometimes I think you care too much about the heading meta. Next, you're probably going to use Peter Crouch or Andy Carroll instead of just caring about the meta. This is your job. Make it fun. In general, I would like to agree with most of your comment, and we can talk about that. Second of all, telling me that this is my job and so I need to make it fun for your viewing pleasure isn't something that I enjoy reading, because I try to make content that I want everybody to enjoy. I don't want to make content that you specifically will enjoy, because if I started making content that each individual one person thought was great, I would have no viewers, because what you think is great is not what lots of other people think is great, and what they think is great is not what other people think is great. And that's why we have this road to glory where it's constantly revolving and changing, and we're discussing, and we're sometimes playing lots of rivals, not lots of rivals, lots of champs, not lots of champs. Sometimes we're doing lots of packs, sometimes we're not. Sometimes we build a fun squad, sometimes we go into a harder squad. Like, you know, I'm trying to find the perfect balance, and it's a continuous cycle of trying to find the perfect balance. It's not a case of, oh, let me just play FIFA how you want me to play, and then all of a sudden everyone's the happiest person in the world. That aside, in terms of me caring too much about the meta, and specifically this heading meta, I actually would be inclined to agree with you. You know, I can see in my own gameplay, and I can feel in my own gameplay that I'm being extremely one-dimensional with how I play. I'm looking for nothing but these crosses, generally speaking. And even in the build-up play, when trying to get to the get to the final third, I'm not incorporating skill moves or passing moves, you know, triangles. I'm not really building up the play very well. I'm kind of like just looking out to the winger. Is Bale or Ibra open? Yes. Okay, let me pass it. No. Okay, let me bring them close, get a 1-2 and try and get them through. So yeah, I could definitely do better in terms of just mixing my gameplay up a little bit more. The only way for me to change that is to play the game a bit more, and that's what I've been doing today. I've been trying to play the game all day, but as I say, I'm struggling. I'm struggling not to play the game because I don't want to play the game. I'm struggling to play the game because it's actually just largely unplayable for me at the moment. The next comment is from Colin. Says, hey Nep, don't sell yourself short. Keep grinding. Elite 1 Top 100 has never been too far away from you. Would love to see what become a focus of the series. How impressive would that be on the first on the road to glory? Keep up the great work. You're my favourite content creator by far. Well, I appreciate the kind words, man. I would say, outside of the can I, can't I, will I, won't I get to top 100 or not, because we've had that debate quite a lot, I think. In sense of how impressive would it be on the first owner road to glory, at this current stage in the road to glory, it probably wouldn't be that impressive, other than the fact that it would be like, holy crap, look at that, I got a top 100 or Elite 1. I think that my team is probably better than most all of people's teams outside of actual pro players, and that's not necessarily top 100s, but like signed pros to teams that are getting a wage to play FIFA, and content creators that make good money off of YouTube and social media. You know, my team's not better than Dave Milers or Batesons. It's not better than Huge Gorillas or, you know, Ajax Danny's. However, my team is better than most all of everybody else. And so to get top 100 right now, it would kind of be like, well, yes, you have the team that is capable of doing that. So that's where we're at with that. Henry says, fun for me is the ability to play with different teams and players I like in real life, but whilst not playing God squads. I feel like themed tournaments would be a perfect way to make people enjoy the game more. And as we end the video here, guys, I would like to just agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly. I personally miss deeply the themed tournaments and squad builders, because that allowed us the opportunity to use and utilize all of the players that we've spent so long getting and gaining in a setting where we're not playing against some guy who doesn't care that we're playing with that team. This, guys, though, is going to be the end of the video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like, rating, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But for now, guys, I'm out. Peace.